Hello, hello, beautiful. Welcome to today's Thursday Talk, where we are talking about the 5 essential parts of your paper organizing system. So, in order to have a paper organizing system that lasts, which means you can maintain it, you can finish it, you know how it works, you're confident with your decisions, and it's something that moving forward you don't have to stress about. You set it up and it works. So that's our goal, right? And in order to have that, you need these 5 essential parts of your paper organizing system. Now, as you hop on, let me know who you are and where you're joining me from. As you know, I am Suzanna Kaye with Suzanna Kaye Organizing, Spark Organizing. Nice to have you here. And I see in the comments we have, hi, Peg. Great to see you from South Tampa. Welcome, Maggie from New York. And Nan. Nan says, can't wait. That's awesome. I can't wait either. Okay, so let's go over the 5 essential parts of every lasting home paper organizing system. If your paper system's missing any one of these parts, then it's going to be much harder to maintain and keep it up and have that confidence. Now, after this public Thursday talk, our Path members have their bonus Thursday talk as part of their membership, and we are taking this a step further. We're doing a deep dive into the paper filing and organizing and how each of these parts works, how it flows, how a paper flows between the system, and kind of the nitty-gritty of each of these parts. So if you are a Path member, then make sure to join me at noon right after this for a deeper dive into these 5 parts. If you're not a Path member yet and you want to become one and get extra support with any of your paper systems, head over to SuzannaKaye.com. Go to the store tab. You can join anytime, cancel anytime, but I don't think you'll want to. Okay, so the 5 essential parts for a paper system that lasts. Now, all of these we talk about in the Paper Path course. The course actually leads you one step at a time through setting all of these up, making them work, feeling confident with them. But let's talk about what parts you need in your paper system. So the first part, and this is always the part that we set up before anything else as well, is a tool for your incoming and active papers. So this is your mail. This is any papers that you bring in from the car, from work, from kids' school, any of your to-do papers, papers where you have something that you need to do something with them. So you need a system to capture all of these new papers that come in and all the active papers that you're still working with, right? So that they don't add to the problem as you set up your full paper system. So in order to handle your incoming and active papers, what I recommend and use and teach is the action file. Now, the action file is great because every single new paper that comes into your home has a place in this file, and there are fewer than 10 file folders in this file. So this way, everything's at your fingertips. You don't lose anything that is an active paper that you still have to do something with. And you always know the next step for that paper because it's action-based. That's why it's called an action file, right? It's very different from what you normally see as far as paper organizing systems. We're not organizing by the type of paper. We're organizing by what needs to happen to it next, which is how we keep so few file folders. Now, the goal of this, to have few file folders, is that's much easier to make a decision with. You have a choice of, 5 different choices. Your brain can make that choice a lot faster than if it has 100 choices, right? So the action file allows you to quickly file anything that comes in that's new or active into this file folder. And this is where it stays until you're done with it. And it's got all of its actions finished, and then it either gets filed, shredded, or trashed, recycled. Okay, so the action file, some examples of the folders within the action file would be to do, which means that you have to actually do something with the paper. You have to RSVP for something. You have to write a check for it, something like that. To read, to add to your Spark Life binder or your important papers binder, to file, if the only thing that needs to be done with it is to file. And there are a number of different other folders that you can create for your action file and customize it for what you need. But those are a few examples of some of the folder types within the action file. So you file it by what is the next action with the paper. Now, if you do want to get started with your organizing papers and you don't have your action file set up yet, or you have your action file and you just want to touch it up, maybe get back on the horse and use it again, maybe you fell off the horse, then join me for the free Incoming Papers Challenge. This starts March 20th. The link is at suzannakaye.com. It's also in the video description. But starting March 20th, that week, I will lead you step by step on how to build your own action file. So that's free. You probably already have all or at least most of the supplies at home that you need in order to build this. And then you can have all of your papers all in one place, kick those paper piles. So that's our first goal, right? Is to kick the paper piles. Don't add to the problem before we create the rest of our system. Now, tell me really quickly in the comments as you hop on and you're telling me who you are, where you're joining from. Also tell me, do you have an action file set up yet? I know I see a lot of you here who've been following me for a while, and you probably have your action files up and either running or working on them. So let me know. And I want to say hi really quickly. There's a number of people. I won't be able to say hi to everybody, but hi, Sue and Joyce. Janice is here, and Suzanne, Sharon. Ida says she's being buried in paperwork. So you are in the right place, Ida. Welcome, Alice and CJ and Vicky. Welcome, welcome, Lynn. We got Sheila's here. Christopher's here from England. And somebody on Facebook, it doesn't show me your name, but she says, oh, I need this. My desk and inbox get buried in papers. I tried to switch most to online delivery, and my hubs, I love him, scans the rest in Google Drive. We need all the help we can get to get rid of the clutter. A bigger file cabinet doesn't really fix the challenge. And that's so true, right? A filing cabinet is one part of the 5 parts that you need. So hopefully this helps you today. Awesome. So, hey, Connie, Mary, Peg says that yes, she's got an action file. Lynn says yes. Sharon says yes, she's got hers. Nan says yes, it needs a little fix. Great. Hopefully in the challenge that can help you out. Christopher does not have his set up yet. Hey, Cindy and Brenda. Janice has hers. Awesome. Hey, BJ. Wendy says good morning. On Facebook, they say yes, and it works great for me. Yay, I love that your action file works great. I hear such good things about it when people get it up and running. Cindy says I have to go through more random papers. Connie says Connie has an action file. Brenda says thank you for this. You're so welcome, Brenda. Absolutely. Sheila says I do have an action file set up. I'm just not good about doing it on going to it on a regular basis. And that's okay. Check out the challenge because I talk about some ways to make sure to remember to check on it, not miss any of those things, especially if you're an out of sight, out of minder. I've got some tricks for that one. Hey, Donna, no worries signing on late, she says. Mary says, your action file challenge of a year ago started me in my journey to organizing my papers. Yay! And Mary has been doing amazing with her papers. And yes, action file, that's your first step if you want to get your papers organized. Peg says, hi, I seem to only use the shred file in my action file. That's a good one to use. It's going, right? BJ says, no action file yet. Hopefully you can join me for the challenge then. Let's see. Patty says, action and to-do files already set up and don't work if they're not acted on. Absolutely true. That's one part of the challenge. Towards the end of the week, we talk a lot about how to remember to do it and actually get it on your calendar and stuff. Maggie says, it's going well except for the to-file folder. Well, that's okay. When it gets full, it gets filed, right? P says, still trying to use it better. Not a problem. CJ says, yes, in a leather portfolio. I keep it in the family room next to my favorite spot to work on papers. And Francie says, hi, I have an action file and it works when I don't ignore it. Awesome, awesome. Well, we talked about the first essential step, right? Incoming and active papers. We got to stop it from adding to the problems, and we have to feel safe that anything that is important to complete does not get lost in any paper piles or in a shuffle, right? So all of your active stuff, all of your new mail, all going into that action file. So that's step 1 to any paper program, and that's what you set up first. The next part of your paper system, and this is one part that I see a lot of paper systems miss, is the short-term files. Now, these don't go in your file cabinet. These short-term files are things that you would keep for less than 1 year, or at least you think you only need to keep them for 1 year or less. They are faster to file and faster to be able to retrieve, because the short-term files, that's usually what we're looking for if we have to go back into our files. Usually it's something that happened within the past year. So having our short-term files more accessible is easier. And within the Paper Path course, I talk about how to set up your short-term file system so that it is self-purging and you have a review before it goes. So this way it does not get overwhelmed with papers. You don't have to go through and remember to actually purge it and get rid of the old. And you get a chance to make sure that you don't still need that paper before it goes. So having your short-term files set up with a self-purging system where there's a trigger that causes you to do a quick review, make a decision whether you still need it or not, or let it go, that helps keep your main file cabinet from ever getting full. So number 2 is that short-term files, which, like I just said, it keeps your main filing cabinet from getting full. So number 3 is your main filing cabinet. That's where your long-term files live. So that big filing cabinet, that should not necessarily be for your like daily files and your even once a week files. That should be your archives. That should be the stuff that you plan to keep for at least 1 year or more, maybe even indefinitely, right? So that can be in a place that's not as easy to reach. It will not get overstuffed. Like right now, let me know in the comments if you have a filing cabinet that is full and just overstuffed and you need to go through and purge your old papers, right? But if you're using the short-term files with the long-term files, your main archive important files will not get overstuffed the way that we do it. So your third part is having those long-term files, those archives. Okay, so your fourth part is your important papers and information. Now, if there's an emergency, it is really hard to go and find all the papers that you might need really quickly from your filing cabinet and get out of the house or handle whatever the emergency is, right? So having something that's quick to grab, you can't quickly grab your whole filing cabinet and take it with you. Having your important papers quick to grab and at your fingertips in case of an emergency, and because this is information that is usually the stuff that we go to the filing cabinet to look up, so it makes managing your life faster and easier. Having it in one place is essential. So not only will you know where to find absolutely everything about your life and your family's life that's important, but your family will know where to find it too. So no matter how your files are set up, you have it set up to work for you. Your family does not need to worry about the files. They have all their important information in one place. And for us, we do that within an important papers binder. Whether it's the Spark Life binder, like the one you see behind me, or you set up your own important papers binder, which we teach you how to do within the Paper Path course. Having that essential and emergency details at your fingertips, especially like your emergency medical folder. If you have to run to the hospital, having just a smaller folder within your important papers that you can grab and take with you to the hospital. Anything like that, and making sure that everything is safe. So your important papers and info would be your Spark Life binder or your important papers binder, your emergency medical folder that you would grab to take with you to the hospital, or even your fireproof, waterproof safe or location where you're keeping your original documents that are important safe. So your birth certificates, things like that, that's part of setting up your important papers and information part of your paper system. So that was number 4. And then finally, number 5, those are your special papers. So there's always times in our lives where we have either a unique situation going on, or we have certain papers that just would not make sense to keep them within the main filing system. So special situations could include something like if you're a full-time caregiver, having like the Spark Life binder right there, other way. Having something like the Spark Life binder, we have the caregiver binder. The Spark caregiver binder has all the information for a caregiver, for all the daily things that you need to access and record, for the medical appointments, for managing any caregiving staff. If you are a full-time caregiver, then those would be special papers where you would not want all that in a filing cabinet. You need that accessible for you and for anybody else caring for that person. So that's a special situation. Special papers might be because of a special situation, or it could just be because they need to be kept in a different location or different handling. So taxes, that's something where you're going to handle those papers a little bit differently than you would handle other papers within your system. Or paper memorabilia or recipes. It would not make sense to keep your recipes in your file cabinet. So special papers is the 5th part of your paper system. So those are the 5 points of the paper system. Really quickly, I wanted to hop into the comments, and then I will tell you what your next step is if you are looking to organize your papers, and just how to get more help for that. So Joyce says that she started her section file, her action file, but then it got covered up with papers on top of it. Not a problem. That's okay. Sometimes it takes a little falling off the wagon and getting back up. So hop into the action file challenge and get motivated again. And you can absolutely do this, Joyce. You're in the right place. I promise. BJ says, yep. As far as the filing cabinet that is overstuffed, Lynn says that yes, her filing cabinet is overstuffed, but she does go through it periodically to clear it out. Somebody on Facebook says, I bought a filing cabinet many years ago. It is still sitting empty in the garage. Well, empty is better than overstuffed at least, right? So at least now you know what types of paper should go in that filing cabinet when you set up your paper system. CJ says, yay, the Spark Life Binder. Yes, CJ, you've done amazing with your Spark Life Binder. I love it. And Brenda says the action file, she has one. Yay. Okay, so let's do a quick recap first of all of the different 5 parts of our paper system. So any paper that comes into your home, whether it is mail or from the car, from the kids' school, anything like that, finds a place in your incoming and active papers, which for us, we use our action file. Create the action file. This can handle every paper that comes into your home and every paper that still has something you need to do with it. RSVP, write a check, fill out a form, follow up, whatever. If it's a to-do, it goes in here, right? So every new paper goes into your action file, and that's part 1 of every paper system. You need something to capture the new papers, make sure that they're safe, don't get lost, and get rid of those paper piles. So from your action file, from your incoming papers, they can go once they are done and to be filed. Then if they don't need to be filed, it's recycle, shred, trash. Otherwise, if they are done, they need to be filed. They could go to your short-term files. And your short-term files, remember, those are the files that you expect to keep for a year or less. So they are easier to file. Oh, sorry. Me too, no. They are easier to file. Let me handle that real quick. Come here. She just likes to be on camera, I think. This is me too. So your short-term files is the second part of your paper system. And it's if you expect to keep the file for 1 year or less. And when you set it up like we do in the Paper Path course to be self-purging, then that self-purging system means that you don't have to remember to go and clear it out. It won't get overstuffed. You get a chance to review the papers before they get purged, but it keeps it nice and lean. The other place that they could get filed, either when they're done in your short-term files and you realize you need to keep them longer, or from your action file, would be your long-term files. So there are 2 filing places that action file papers would go to, either short-term or long-term. So your long-term files are your archives. These are papers that you know that you need to keep for a year or more. So these are the ones that would go into the filing cabinet. And when you're using your short-term files, this means that they will not get overstuffed. Your filing cabinet won't need to be purged all the time. It will stay lean and mean, and you can find what you need faster. Now, having your important papers at your fingertips so that you and your family can find the information and the papers that you need quickly in an emergency or just because you need to access it during daily life, having them all in one place, such as the Spark Life Binder or your own important papers binder, which we teach you how to set up in the Paper Path course. Having it all at your fingertips is the 4th part of your paper system. And if you don't have this at your fingertips, then your family might not know where to find things. In an emergency, it makes it very difficult and you feel less confident, especially for like medical emergencies. You need at least a quick grab emergency medical folder for if you have to go to the hospital or first responders come. And then the 5th part is if you have any special circumstances, then make sure that you are organizing papers related to that special circumstance, such as if you are a full-time caregiver. You'll want to set up something like the Spark Caregiver Binder, which is similar to the Spark Life Binder, with all the important information in one place so that everybody has access to it. You have easy access to update logs and tracking and anything that you need about medical history and care. So it could be because there's a special situation. Also, it could be because it needs to be handled differently or in a different location. So that's your fireproof and waterproof safe, right? Where your original documents can be. Or that would be your tax files or your paper memorabilia. So things that were really different from what you would put in a filing cabinet. Okay, so you know your 5 parts of your paper system now, right? So what is your next step? Well, your next step, if you do not have an incoming paper system set up, join me for the action file challenge. This way you can kick all of those paper piles to the curb. No more paper piles. No more losing that bill and forgetting to pay it on time or not being sure where all of your active papers are. Make sure that you join me for this challenge. It starts March 20th and it's free. So during this week, I will send you emails on how to set up and use your own action file. By the end of the week, you'll be confident about how to use that action file to make sure that nothing gets overlooked and everything has a place. And that is your first step for your paper system. You always set that up first. Now, if you already have your action file, then the next step would be to set up the rest of those parts of your paper system. So you can do that with our Paper Path course that will be opening up for sale on March 16th in the store at SuzannaKaye.com. But if you just want some support in the meantime to help you get through, whether it's you're afraid that you will forget to check your action file and you want help staying on top of it, or if you want help working through paper organizing paper projects, getting more motivation, having a whole community next to you working side by side, that's when I would encourage you to join the Path membership, because that's what the Path membership is. It's support. We're here to help you reach your paper organizing goals and even just your home goals. You know, you can do dishes while we do group hikes. You can ask organizing questions during the office hours. And remember, if you are a Path member already, or if you want to join the Path member to hear more about how to work with these 5 different systems, how papers flow between them, more about how to get the system set up, then at noon, my Path members, you have your bonus Thursday talk in about 40 minutes. And we will talk about how to really deep dive into those 5 parts and get it working for you. So that was this week. Let me see really quickly in the comments. I wanted to say hi to Eloise. She says, hello from Texas City with lots of love. So glad I made the live. I'm glad you made it too, Eloise. Hi. Thank you. Lynn says, happy to finally be here. Ida says, thank you, Susanna. Leaving for work and joy. So glad that you could stop by, Ida. Brenda Jean says, can't wait for the action file challenge. Yay. Oh, BJ says, where did you get that portable wire file? That one is actually from Amazon. If you go to SuzannaKaye.com, in the store, there's a favorite things link. And I have all of my action file supplies that I love, including this wire file. I have links to it right there. So stop by the store on my website and go to the favorite things area. And you can find with the action file supplies that I recommend, that wire file is there. It's my favorite. I've had that for a while and I love, love, love it. I'll also share that during the challenge. I'll share that link for the favorite things store during the challenge. Maggie says, more so than keeping up with the current papers is the old me paper piles. Yes, and in the Paper Path course, we actually have a whole section dedicated to sorting old papers because you are not alone. I hear so many times when people have boxes and boxes, or I've even worked with somebody with an entire storage unit of papers to go through, just old papers. And we use the onion method, and I teach you that in the Paper Path course, and it helps so much. You've got this. You're going to do good, Maggie. Mary says, the action file is a great place to start. Beginning of the end to paper piles. Oh, I love that. Beginning of the end to paper piles. That's perfect. Thank you, Mary. You've done amazing. Sherry says, good morning, beautiful. Good morning, Sherry. Okay, Peg says, how do I tell a friend what actions to take if I have an emergency? For example, how do I tell my son what bills to pay and how if I'm hospitalized? Planning for someone to become a caregiver for me. So there's a couple of answers to this. If you have an emergency, then you need to make sure that your trusted friends in your family know, one, where your emergency medical folder is, because that will have anything that they might need to bring to the hospital for you or give to first responders, that type of thing. 2, in your Spark Life binder, and Peg, I know that you've got the Spark Life binder. You've been doing really well with that. You can add a list of your bills within the Spark Life binder. We're working on, hopefully later this year, having a little expansion pack for bills and all that like financial budgeting and stuff that people would need to know to add to it. But if you add a list of your bills and maybe what accounts they come out of or when they need to get paid, that's the place that you would have him look. Since it's your son, he would need to know where this Spark Life binder is anyway. And the Spark Life Binder is going to tell him everything that he needs to know. So just add that page into the Spark Life Binder in the financial section. And then planning for someone to become a caregiver for you. Once it gets to the point where they are, you have more full-time care, then that's when you would look into the Spark Caregiver Binder, because that's where they would track all of the caregiving information. And then as far as in the Spark Life Binder, that's where you would put a lot of those legal documents that would assign, somebody to be your caregiver and give them all the rights that you would need. So 2 places: Spark Life Binder to get set up as a caregiver binder once that's a more intense caregiving situation. So good question. Very good question. And those all fall into that special papers category, an important papers category, actually, both special for caregiver, important for Spark Life Binder, and emergency medical folder. Awesome. So BJ says, thanks. Suzanne says, is the action file challenge by email or video? Both. So the primary tasks of the day and information you need will be sent every morning to your email inbox. So you can do it on your own schedule. And if you only want to check the emails, that's fine. You don't have to watch the videos. Each day during the action file, I will be live that afternoon, and I will give, a recap of the task of the day, how to complete it, and some extra tips and advice and explanations. So if you wanted to watch the videos each day at 1 p.m., then you can do that as well. They're not required. You can do the whole challenge just by email, or you can get the emails and then also watch the videos that day if that's your style of learning. So both, but primarily email will give you everything that you need if you just want email. Peg says, thanks. I have the emergency medical folder and Spark Life Binder. I need to add specifics on bill paying. That's awesome. Yes. Love it. You can do it during one of our Path member group hikes since you're really good at going to all the group hikes and you're such a good member. Perfect. Okay. So we did our recap. Tell me, while we talk about what's coming up, tell me, what small step will you make in your home this week? What are you going to do to make your life better and try to feel a little bit more in control this week? Hopefully it includes signing up for the Action File Challenge at SuzannaKaye.com. But what else will you do this week? So let's talk about coming up. Remember that Action File Challenge, March 20th. The link is in the video description. It's also at SuzannaKaye.com. You can sign up there and it's free. Also, the full calendar and the store where the favorite things link is with items that I love, all that stuff at SuzannaKaye.com. Last thing in the comments, Patty says, having all the resources still doesn't get it acted on. Bought the Spark Life Binder many, many years ago. Do we really have lifetime access if I can find to restart it? Yes, you have lifetime access. You will always own your Spark Life Binder, either digital file or printed, whichever version you got, or if you got both. If you have any problems finding your digital file for your Spark Life Binder, then we can always send you your information about logging into your online library to download the blank template again if you need it. Okay. So email us if you can't find where you save that file, and we won't have the file that has your personal information in it to send to you. That's all on your side. You don't enter any important information where we can access it, but we can send you the blank one again of the version that you have. Or if it's digital, you'll always have the updated version. And Patty, you might want to look into becoming a Path member. You go to SuzannaKaye.com and click on the store and check out the Path membership, because that's what the Path membership is for. It's to help you actually set aside time, have the resources and support to get it done without spending hours and hours a week, right? So check out the Path membership. That might be a good tool for you if you're having trouble moving forward and actually acting on any of your paper goals, because I created it because I'm the type of person that needs that push too. So Brenda says, if you can't join at 1 p.m., can you watch the replay later? Yes. I'm sorry. Thank you for reminding me. Yes. You can always watch the replay later. There's a full challenge schedule page with everything that you need in one spot. All the replays throughout the week will be added after they're done, and that's available for a full week after the challenge. And she says she is going to, her small step is she's going to get papers ready for the Action File Challenge. Woot, woot. I love it. Yes. Awesome. Joyce is going to try to uncover her action file. Yes, I will see you in the challenge and we will get you back on track and motivated. You're going to do awesome. And Brenda says, okay, great. So excited. I can't wait to get started. I'm excited too. Thank you so much, beautiful. You are doing absolutely amazing. Remember, register for the challenge, SuzannaKaye.com. Oh, yes. Sherry says, I'll sign up for your tax papers prep webinar. That's right. Tonight? No, the 9th. Next Thursday. No, today is 9th. This Thursday, tonight. Tonight is the last chance to get the tax, organizing your tax papers webinar for $25. If you're a Path member, you get your $5 discount. So it's $20 for Path members, $25 for anybody else. It's a great webinar to help you get organized for doing your taxes, organized while you're doing your taxes, figure out how to archive your tax papers afterwards, and you get to keep the replay forever. It's yours forever. So SuzannaKaye.com in the store. This is the last night to grab that tax webinars at $25. The price goes up tomorrow. Donna says, I'm going to set up an action file on my phone for its files. Oh, that's a great idea. Love that. Yes. You guys are awesome. Well, I hope you have an amazing day. Path members, I will see you in about 30 minutes. We'll take a deep dive on these 5 paper parts. It's hard to say. Paper parts. I love you. Have a wonderful day. You got this. Bye.